your body will literally throw physical symptoms at you to make you go, you know what? I'm going to go have a few drinks because this feels horrible.
Yeah.
It
Like
will.
a toddler.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a toddler throwing a fit. It's your inner child throwing a tantrum.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and this is my husband Boyd. Welcome to our channel, The Freedom Habit, where we help people work through habits and recovery. We also have 2 free PDFs, and I'll leave a link to them down in the description. Is there anything you want to talk about, Boyd?
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about how when you finally decide to stop drinking or taking pain pills or even gambling or watching porn, any of those things, your body's going to feel uncomfortable emotions and thoughts.
Yes.
As we know, because we went through that. And it's really going to try to drag you back to where you were. It's going to make you want to go back and numb yourself again, to distract yourself again from those feelings and emotions. And that's just commonplace. So we have to learn how to deal with them.
Right.
So when you're going through this process, you're going to experience some thoughts of self-doubt, some negative thoughts. You may even have some body pains and muscle tension, headaches. When I stopped drinking for a month not too long ago, I had for 5 days pains in my neck. Michelle was buying me Motrin and buying creams to rub. I could barely move my neck. It was like a tension headache. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So when you try to stop anything, even if it's temporary or forever, it doesn't matter. Your body just throws a tantrum because it's used to having its way, and it doesn't like when you try to take control, because our bodies actually are kind of hooked right into our subconscious mind.
That's what I was going to say.
Like one.
Is that hooked from our subconscious? Like
Yeah.
That's what's fighting against
yeah.
what we're doing.
Yeah, your subconscious mind will actually trigger physical pain, along with negative thoughts and emotions, just to like pull you back to where you came from, to get you back to the familiar, because that's what it wants.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it wants, because they think it's safe. Because your subconscious thinks it's safe. And that's its job, is to keep us safe.
Right.
It's a survival mechanism.
Yes.
But it actually blows up in our face, half the time. So
I think that many of us got used to living in survival mode, and I'm not even talking about addictions. I'm talking about beyond that. We have been raised in survival mode and allowing our bodies to be in control and our subconscious mind to lead us. And a good example of that is driving to work. Like, you're driving, you're thinking, and then all of a sudden you get to work, and it's like you don't even really remember because you're so used to doing it.
Yeah, and also you almost have to be in survival mode when you're driving, because you got to be watching out for other cars pulling out in front of you or slamming on the brakes or whatever, right? The only time driving's really peaceful is when you're the only one on the road, like late at night, you're just chilling, driving a long distance or something, right? But yeah, driving's a good example. So what do you do when you feel like that? Like, what are some ideas? Do you have any?
My suggestion would be to replace those habits that you're giving up with healthier choices, healthier behaviors.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like when you start feeling those emotions and having those thoughts come in, like go for a walk. Maybe do some stretches or something,
Yeah. Grounding.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. Go out and stand in the grass in your bare feet. That's what grounding is, in case you didn't know. And,
yes.
It kind of polarizes your body, magnetizes it. Yeah, the more you try to remain unbothered by the fact that you feel bothered, and just look past it, realizing that it's just temporary.
Right.
When you realize that it's temporary, and that it's going to fade. Actually, usually in 10 minutes. I really noticed this when I quit smoking cigarettes. I would have a really strong urge to smoke. And, I would put a lollipop in my mouth or drink a Coke or something. And if you fought that urge for like 10 minutes, it would dissipate and fade away. Now, it would come back again in maybe an hour or so. And then if you did the same thing again and distracted yourself with a lollipop or eating something or taking a walk, whatever it is, then the next time it might come back 3 hours later. Like each time you beat that craving, the distance between cravings gets further and further apart.
Good to know.
So ultimately, that it's going to be harder at first and more frequent at first, but the more you hold off and don't give in, it gets easier and easier as it goes on.
Right.
And it's never really easy. It's simple, but it's not easy, especially at first. So that's something to consider. But it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. How do you stay unbothered when those thoughts and emotions arise?
One of my recommendations is sitting in silence for 10 minutes every day. So what I do is I take my coffee and I go outside and have no stimulation. Don't take your cell phone. Don't check your email. Don't have the television on. And while you're doing that, start envisioning the person that you want to be. You're going to want to change your identity and think about that person, how they talk, how they walk, what does their day look like? What kind of friends do they have? What changes have they made in their lives? Do they exercise? Do they eat healthy? And the more you do this, you'll start building this identity change. The repetition and the consistency will help you align with that person.
I agree. I also think meditation is a great way. And I know I've mentioned that before, but it's had such a great impact on my life, And deep breathing, Kundalini breathing, exercises, it really releases old energy trapped and stored in your body. And when you meditate and do the deep breathing, you can really get into your subconscious and start tweaking things and changing the way you view life, the way you would react to things, because it just changes your whole focus and it makes you more calm and everything. Another thing too, and this may seem silly, but when you're going through those cravings, put on a comedy show, watch something funny. Also watch YouTube videos.
There you go.
I always watch YouTube videos of people when I'm starting to feel down or my mood's starting to sway a little bit during the day. I'll either meditate or I'll turn somebody on YouTube that I know is uplifting and I'll watch that. So focus on something positive, uplifting, or funny, because that really gets your mind out of that gutter mentality of
feeling bad. Yeah. And also, another good thing is to change your point of view about setbacks. Setbacks don't always have to be lessons or negative. They can actually be lessons. We can learn from them. Well, what can I do differently this time?
Right.
Instead of beating ourselves up,
Yeah.
take a look at the situation and think, what can I do differently that's going to benefit me?
Yeah, that's what Edison said. This is obviously a paraphrase, but he was asked about failing so many times to create the light bulb, and he goes, I just found 2,000 ways how not to make it, and eventually it led him to create it.
There you go.
So that's the right attitude. I know that sometimes seems hard or difficult to have that attitude, but it's really not. If you choose to have that attitude, you can have that attitude.
Yeah. And the more you practice that attitude, the easier it gets.
Once again. Yeah, everything's like that.
Right.
The more you do it, the easier it gets. And I'll tell you what, Eckhart Tolle was really great at teaching this. Some people call him Eckhart Tolle, but I think it's Eckhart Tolle. But he teaches living in the present. And it's just about watching your thoughts go by. It's about just observing things. and not judging them. Like we always put a judgment on almost every time we see a person. We kind of judge them a little bit, like, I think they might be like this, or whatever. We see anything and we kind of judge a situation or whatever. And instead of doing that, just recognize it, notice it, and try not to put any kind of stipulations on it. And it really keeps you at peace because you're not walking around thinking, "What's this mean? What's going to happen
and
here?"
overthinking.
It's overthinking, and that comes from what? Survival mode, right? Doesn't it? It comes right back to that.
Yes.
And once again, the more you practice it, the easier it gets. And like Michelle said, it never does any good to beat yourself up. So if you're trying to do these methods that we're talking about of controlling your cravings and negative thoughts in your mind and your emotions, if you fail at it and you go out and have a drink, or if you watch porn, or if you, whatever your slip up is, whatever your little relapse may be, don't beat yourself up. It never does any good to beat yourself up. Forgive yourself and start over tomorrow.
Get right back out there.
Yeah, because that's the only way to overcome it and move on with your life. Forgive yourself. That's the main thing. You got to forgive yourself and others, of course, when they hurt you. So unforgiveness is a really bad thing to do because it just hurts yourself.
It does.
It doesn't hurt the person you're angry at. It's just
and you don't always have to. When you forgive someone, that doesn't mean you have to continue the relationship with them. But it's for yourself, really, and I think that's an important thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It frees them to move on, and if depending on what happened, you don't have to stay in a relationship with someone who's really done you wrong.
Thanks for joining us today. I hope what we talked about resonated with you, and if it did, please like and subscribe to our channel. And I just want to leave you with a last thought, and this has helped me a lot. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. And I've said that to myself many times.